A Waveshare 1.47-inch LCD display driven by the RP2350. No touchscreen, but a really useful size. Let's take a look and build something really useful, a debug tool. Hi, I'm John, your concierge to the world of the Raspberry Pi Pico, Pico 2, robotics, IoT and other fun tech. If that's your kind of adventure, then please hit the subscribe button and join the community. This is one of the smaller displays I've looked at, with 172 by 320 pixels, in a form factor that fits really quite nicely on a breadboard. No touchscreen, but these displays are cheaper than a Raspberry Pi Debug Probe, ironically, as that's what I'm going to build with it. Though a Debug Probe with a twist, so keep watching. So let's power it up, and hey, if this video sparks your inspiration or helps your projects, consider dropping me a tip using that super thanks button below the video, or alternatively there's a payment link in the description too. That helps support this channel and keep these ideas flowing. Now hit the like button, grab your Pico, and let's get started. This video is sponsored by WolfSSL. If you're just starting your coding journey, let me introduce you to a name you'll want to remember, WolfSSL. It's not just a set of libraries, but a backpack full of quality tools. And WolfSSL packs some serious gear: encryption, authentication, secure connections. I could go on. What sets WolfSSL apart? It's purpose-built for embedded systems and resource-limited environments. It's used in millions of devices worldwide, from aerospace and automotive to consumer electronics. If you're dreaming of building something that actually ships, this is the kind of library that gets your project battle ready. WolfSSL isn't just powerful, it's friendly. The docs are clear, the APIs are simple, and there's support, actually helpful support. And yes, it's open source too, with commercial support available if you want to go pro. So whatever you are building, WolfSSL helps you write secure code like a pro. So start right, start smart, hit the link, grab WolfSSL and put some real security into your project, because what you build matters and how you protect it matters even more. So we're going to take a look at this Waveshare RP2350 LCD-1.47, which is a 36 by 20 mm display board with 320 by 172 pixels, and of course driven by the RP2350. So let's have a look inside the box and see what we get. Well, we've got the screen itself nicely protected, and we've got some header pins. You can solder header pins onto this board in order to be able to connect it straight onto a PCB or a breadboard. And indeed, in my demo at the end of the video, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So this really is quite a small and tiny little display. So this display is approximately 36 by 20 millimeters, and we squeezed into that 320 by 172 pixels. Cool. And it's driven by the ST7789V3 display driver, which is a display driver we've seen on some of the other screens as well. In terms of connectivity, we've got a USB-C, of course. We've also got two switches, which is going to be reset and boot cell. Now it's an RP2350, so of course we can reuse boot cell as other things. We've got a micro SD card, so you can play around reading off of that, and that's using 4 pins, so it's relatively quick to pull data off of that SD card. And then we've got two banks of header pins there, which are 2.54mm spacing, which makes them ideal for just plugging straight into a breadboard. And that gives us lots of GPIO capability for expansion. In fact, plenty there to connect up something like an RM2 module to give this display Wi-Fi and Bluetooth if we wanted it. At that point, we'd need something like WolfSSL's libraries to help us secure it. What is missing though is SWD, single wire debug. So we can't use a Raspberry Pi Debug Probe in order to flash the unit or indeed to debug what's going on in that code. That's a bit of a miss if this is the development board as it's pitched. The unit comes with some demos. This is the LCD demo, so it's driving the LCD display directly from the code and displaying a really nice little image there. Then we got an LVGL demo as well, which is just using the LVGL library to make actually putting an image on there very easy. And again, really nice quality image, really easy demo to actually see what it's doing. Of course, hardware is only half the story. We need some good libraries to be able to use this. And it comes with a set of libraries. I'm not entirely delighted with the structure of the libraries, particularly the fact that config has been basically split out as a separate library, and the way that the example makefiles then use that, I think is complicated and not as easy to replicate in your own projects. But basically, we've got a config to define how this hardware is working, and then an LCD library, which is basically a library for driving that ST7789V3 display driver. Then we've got LVGL. This is a local copy of that, but we could use the release straight from GitHub. It is version 8.10, a little older version. On the version 8 release of LVGL, the latest release is 8.4, and of course there is a release 9 available. There's also a FAT file system example and sort of library available for that. That's actually interfacing directly using a 4-bit interface to those SD cards. That looks pretty good and reusable, but it's going to take a little bit of work to adapt that to your own projects. Now, I don't just talk about these boards, I always do something with them. And this time, my example, I'm placing here on GitHub. So basically, I want to evolve what I've done previously around my strategy for debugging and flashing my Picos and Pico 2s. So traditionally, I've used debug probes, and I have several of the Raspberry Pi debug probes. I've talked about them in previous videos. But you also know that I also use Waveshare RP2040 Zeros, running basically the same Raspberry Pi probe software, just on a cheaper board. Now this time I want to do the same, but to put it onto this Waveshare RP2350 LCD. But you've got an LCD display there. What are you going to do with the LCD display? Well, I'm going to use that to actually give me a debug of what's running across telemetry over UART. So I will be able to see in hex and ASCII what data is passing across in both directions. So here we are, we can see a demo of it running. You can see that I've got a simple flash code running on my Pico, and it's sending back the message to tell it that the LED is going on and off over UART, and I can see that on the display. If I type anything, then that will go onto the RX queue, and I can see that as well. So what I've done here is I've got my breadboard with both my LCD display and a Pico on the same board. Now I'm cheating and using the power coming in on the probe there on the right onto that bottom bus bars to actually power up the Pico. So V buses are basically being shared across both of them. That's basically then coming just from the USB cable. And then SWD is coming there from GP2 and GP3, going across there over from the LCD display over onto the SWD port on our favorite Pico. UART, now I'm picking that up on GP4 and GP5 on our LCD display, and it's coming from UART 0 on my Pico. Now traditionally UART 0 on the Pico is GP0 and GP1. I happen to move it because I prefer it on GP16 and 17, but still connect it where you want. That's how I'm running it. So how have I done this code? How I've managed to modify this? Well, basically I'm just running everything that is the debug probe on core 0 of my LCD display, and I've just adapted the code so everything can run there in there. On core 1 I'm running an LVGL app, which is actually able to display what's going over the TX and RX UART connection, so what's going one way or another over that UART connection. And I'm doing that because actually between these two I'm sharing a ring buffer. It's a very small ring buffer, they're only 12 bytes each, but there is a transmit and a receive ring buffer there. And basically I have modified some of the debug probe code so that actually that gets populated as information is flowing between the UART and over into USB to my Mac. It's also getting copied over into that ring buffer. So on the repo here, I've got a few things in this repo. First of all, in the EXP, my experiment folder, I do actually have a test LVGL application for this display that I was playing with. You might find that library or that example useful. I've also got a test application, which is my little application, which is basically just going to flash the LED on a Pico and also print on and off down the UART standard out IO. That's what I'm using for the test, and you've already seen that. So the actual code here for our LCD probe is in here, and I'm doing some slightly dodgy things. So in addition, let's have a look at the CMake file. So in addition to the normal libraries of the LCD display and the LVGL, and indeed FreeRTOS, which is required by the debug probe, I'm also trying to make the debug probe a library in its own right. Now, doing that is kind of interesting, because this wasn't really written as a library, it's really written as an application. For instance, it's got a main function here, which I'm going to take out and I'm going to sort of replace. And it's also got this CDC UART, which is what is actually copying data from UART over onto the USB and vice versa. And it's that we're going to be placing data into the ring buffer. So let's have a look at that first. So, well, actually, let's have a look at the ring buffer first. So I've written a really simple ring buffer library here that basically just creates a ring buffer of 12 bytes. It has that structure, which basically we've just got an index of what the current position in that ring is, and we keep on filling it up, and we're able to initialize it, which basically just wipes it all to 0. We're able to add a byte into the ring buffer, and we're able to copy the ring buffer out into a target data structure, also of 12 bytes, which is what I then use for printing. So then that gets filled by this CDC UART function here, and in here we actually have a bit of task code, which is basically just constantly reading and writing data across between UART and USB. And so I've just hijacked that and put a little bit of code in here to add things into the ring buffer if they've been sent across. So easy, not problem there. And then what else? So we then need to actually get the probe software running on core 0. And I kind of cheated here. So I've been really naughty, and I'm basically just including the debug probe main function, but I'm accidentally rewriting main to be probe main, which means that I can then call it down here and run it up after I've run up my LCD app software on core 1. So what that core, that I guess the really bit that we want to have a look at that is the widget code. So the widget code is basically what's going to aptly paste the screen and sort out the screen for us. So what I'm basically doing is first of all just setting up the structure of that area, which is basically going to have some labels and the hex and ASCII lines. And there are two sets of hex and ASCII lines of 6 bytes each for transmit, or 2 lines, so that's 12 bytes total for transmit and 12 bytes total for receive. And that's all just being set up by this code here. And then it's going to initiate this timer, which is going to run every 250 milliseconds. And it's that timer that then is going to run this code up here, which basically grabs the ring buffers and then copies the data and interprets it so that we get a hex line and an ASCII line. And that's all that's going on up here. And that's what gives us the code. That's it. Actually, it's a relatively simple app. Now, I probably want to add some more stuff into this and make it a little better, but this is really already quite useful. I'm getting used to reviewing excellent RP2350 displays from Waveshare, and this board is another great example, especially for the money. I have two minor complaints. Firstly, the lack of SWD, which is really not acceptable on a development board. I need to be able to flash and debug code using an SWD port. Secondly, the structure of a library. Using config as a separate library is just clunky. I think this could be better designed, and that would make it easier for us to adapt our own projects from. If this video helps you out or sparks an idea for your own project, consider supporting me with that super thanks button below the video or through the payment link that's in the description. I'm saving these up to get myself over to the open source conference in San Francisco. Every contribution gets me one step closer to that goal, and I'd love to meet you all there too. Thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then give it a thumbs up and make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss the next video. And check out some of my other RP2040 and RP2350 projects and display reviews over here. Catch you on the next one. Bye bye for now.